Hello, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here today, my name is Odds, and we are going to be talking about Moon Knight episode 3. We are halfway through the series now, folks. I can't believe we're only halfway through because it seems like we're nearing the end, at least where I know the story's gonna go. So, like, where do we go from here? And I heard that episode 4 is like, so I guess we'll figure it out with episode 5 and 6 since a lot of people don't know anything about those episodes. So yeah, if you're new here today, I would love for you to subscribe. I do 2 videos a week. Marvel, Star Wars, DC, beauty, vlogs, there's something on this channel for everyone, so be sure to stay tuned for that. And if you like this video while you're watching, make sure to give it a big old thumbs up. It really helps me out here on my channel. So, we are going to go ahead and start with a breakdown of the episode, and then we will ask some questions about the episode at the end. Questions, theories, that sort of thing. So, this episode is called The Friendly Type. Theorizing as to why it's called that, I'm not quite sure. It's not as obvious as like the previous episode, which is called Summon the Suit. So this is a little bit different. It could have to do with the gods, and it could have to do with the fact that Harrow seems very charismatic and kind of ends up misleading the gods later in the episode. The episode starts off with Layla getting a fake passport to go to Egypt. Now, we find out her dad was an archaeologist, and we find out a little bit more later moving forward. Hints that maybe Mark had something to do with his death. Maybe he was the one who ended up killing him. Something ended up happening. But either way, Layla doesn't know about it. So that would definitely put their marriage on the rocks if they weren't already getting a divorce. You know, that whole chestnut. We see Mark fight without the Moon Knight suit, and I think this is definitely where there was an Oscar Isaac training montage that came out maybe a year or two ago, and I think this is definitely from that scene. We see him work with the knives, and that was from that training montage. So that's exciting to see it come full circle altogether. Mark then loses control to Steven when he looks into his reflection in the knife. Now, this episode is very much Mark losing control to Steven a lot and them learning to work together, which is, I think, really important storytelling to show, because it shows that your alters can work together in one happy little system. He isn't able to find the information from the guys that he was beating up. One of the kids, so forth, ends up throwing himself off the ledge to praise Amit. And then Khonshu decides to summon the night in order to summon a council with the gods. We then get this council of the gods with their avatars, and we find out that the other gods have decided that they're not going to meddle, that they're going to just simply observe through their avatars. However, we find out later that Hathor has decided to kind of help Khonshu to get him towards Amit's tomb so that he can stop Harrow. They summon Harrow, and he basically has this trial, but he just lies right to their faces, and they just eat it up because he's charismatic Ethan Hawke, so he's gonna believe what he has to say over Khonshu, and he throws out the fact that Khonshu's avatar is not well, and Mark acknowledges the fact that he needs to see help, which that's a good thing, but not in the context of this plot, because then it makes the gods not believe him. But Yep, Harrow just lies right to them and they just eat it on up. Hathor sends Mark to go find the sarcophagus of specific magi. And in the sarcophagus is going to be a map that leads to Amit's tomb. Layla then joins up with Mark in Cairo to his dislike because he doesn't want her there for multiple reasons. They then go visit an old contact she has, we find out, from Madripoor. So Layla had been in Madripoor before. Really interesting, another connection to the rest of the MCU there with the fictional city of Madripoor. Harrow then intercepts this party that's going on to show the host, Anton, the power of Amit, and shows kind of if he can, offers him the scarab since he already knows where the tomb is, so he doesn't need it, but offers him the scarab as like a collector since he's a collector of Egyptian artifacts. There's a whole fight that ensues. We see a lot from the trailer take place. In between the fight, Mark loses control of the body to Steven, who becomes Mr. Knight, and then immediately relinquishes the body back to Mark because he's in the middle of a fight and is not handling it very well. He gets stabbed multiple times, but I guess with the armor it's all fine and dandy. They then make it out of this house party thing that's happening and go to the desert and try to put the map together, but they realize that they need Steven to do so, so Mark relinquishes the body to Steven, and then he puts the map together, but they realize they need it to be the stars of the night where the sarcophagus was put together, so they end up putting him and Khonshu, so Mr. Knight and Khonshu end up turning back the stars to the night of the burial, and it causes Khonshu to become imprisoned in stone, which is not good, because there's some, we don't know exactly what happens here. So then Steven loses consciousness, and Harrow then goes to visit Khonshu in the pyramid and was like, gives a little villain talk. So that was the end of the episode, so it looks not good for our friends. It looks like Harrow is gonna get to release Amit, at least from what we know so far. That's what's gonna happen. I think she will be released, but they're gonna have to like re-imprison her. But I think she will be released, like just based on what we've seen so far. I think that would be like where we can go from here, is having her actually released before they can stop her. Some questions that we have for this episode. I have for this episode. Who does Mark and Steven lose the body to? So there is a lot of instances in this episode where Mark's like, Steven, what did you do? And Steven's like, it's not me. And Mark's like, it's not me. So it could either just be Khonshu is taking full control of the body, which I don't know if they're going to go that route, just because Khonshu talks to both of them, and Mark is an avatar for Khonshu, so he doesn't really need to take full control of the body, at least. So it could be that it's Khonshu. It could be Jake Lockley, since we have another alter that has not made their appearance in the series as of yet. Now, Jake Lockley is a taxi driver alter of the system that Mark Spector is host of. So really would be interesting to see that. But I'm not sure if they're going to go that route, or they're just going to say that it was Khonshu taking control. So who knows, but I would like to see Jake Lockley appear in the series. Second question is, will Mark and Steven still retain their powers now that Khonshu is imprisoned? Now, this is something that I don't know. Like, how are you going to have a Moon Knight series without Moon Knight making his presence? I don't know if Mark still retains the responsibility of Avatar of Khonshu if Khonshu is locked in stone. But would be really interesting to see. I would say probably not, based on you would think how powers work, but at the same time, Amit's in a tomb and Hera still has some of the powers of her, so maybe not. I don't really know that one. I can see it go both ways, but we would have to see Mark and Steven try to work together in order to bring down Hera without the suits. Now, it was mentioned by Khonshu that he's like, just wait and see what would happen without my protective armor, so it could be a situation where they do explore that in the next few episodes. Third question is, will Mark be able to free Khonshu? Now, it's really, I don't know. I would say yes. They did mention that this is a one-off series, but I could totally see maybe they talked about it. Mark obviously doesn't want it to happen, but Layla becoming Moon Knight, I could see maybe in the future that happening if Oscar Isaac does want to step away from the character. Because knowing Marvel, they don't want to one-off a character. They want to bring them into tons of future projects. And I can't see them just deciding to get rid of Moon Knight as a character. Now, it would be really interesting if they decided to go through with Layla being Moon Knight, and it would be a real deviation from the comics, but it's something the MCU might just do. So I think they'll be able to free Khonshu, but it might be a situation where maybe Layla is the one to do so versus Mark being able to do so. And the last question I have is, will we see a flashback of the trauma that caused Mark's dissociative identity disorder? Now, it was confirmed in this episode that Mark has had dissociative identity disorder from at least a long time. In the comics, it's from when he was a child. He saw a hate crime enacted, and that is how he developed his DID. Now, I don't know if we'll see that because we don't really want to see a hate crime take place on camera, but he might talk about it a little bit more. But he definitely mentioned that he was able to control Steven a lot more than before. So there's something that happened, probably Khonshu's fracturing of his mind even more, that caused Steven to make more of a presence known versus before, where he was able to kind of keep his DID on at least a little bit on the back burner. So he has always had it, or not always, but he's had it for a while. As long as Layla's known him, he's had it. So it is confirmed that he has DID in this. So with your multiversal theories, he actually has DID. It's a real mental disorder. And it is also confirmed that he is Jewish in this iteration, as he was wearing a Star of David necklace in the previous episode we saw it. But yes, so at least they're taking that stuff from the comics that I know is really important for in terms of representation. They're bringing that onto the screen to see, which I think is really great. That they're not just pushing it aside for the sake of making it easier on the viewers. Easier on the viewers. So I'm really happy to see that in this series. Yeah. So this is a bit of a longer one. I'm sure I'm going to edit a bunch out, so it's not going to be 18 minutes long. But, but thank you guys so much for watching. Again, if you would like to see more of my Moon Knight breakdowns, be sure to subscribe because I'm going to do more. I'm also going to be doing Kenobi when it premieres next month. Ooh. So be sure to stay tuned for that. And as always, I love y'all. Hope you all are doing well, that you're staying safe, and I will see you on Friday with a new video. Bye!